Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about base, how to achieve the perfect, most natural looking base. I've got absolutely nothing on my skin at the moment apart from my skincare. I've prepped, and the only thing that I have used is this Benefit the Pore Professional Refiner. So I've got a little bit of texture and open pores through the center. This product is absolutely fantastic. So we've started off with this. Eyebrows are on, a little bit of mascara on, that's it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, if you can see, we have pigmentation around the mouth area, got a little bit of darkness around underneath the eye. So I use a color corrector and I use an orange shade to counteract it so that when I do put a little bit of foundation on, it doesn't have that kind of gray tinge to it and I don't have to put too much base on. So you only want to apply a very, very small amount. I literally just do a couple of dots around the mouth, one literally under the eye, and I use my finger to blend this one out. I don't use any brushes. Just take your finger and get a nice even blend. So you don't want to completely cover the area and cake it. You just want a very thin veil, and think of it as like a primer base. And then once you've blended all of that through, and it still looks very, very natural, I always like to go in with like a tinted serum. So at the moment I'm using the Rose Ink, and this is shade 110, and it is a pigmented water-based serum foundation tint, super, super lightweight. So if you see, it would just pop a little bit of color onto my skin, but can you see how it just blends perfectly through the forehead? It looks a little bit darker on the cheeks, but that's where my cheeks are lighter, and I'm kind of bringing the color together on my face. I'm trying to get some uniform here. So all over, around the mouth, and just, this is going to be your first step. And in all honesty, if this is enough for you, then this is enough. But if you're going out or you have an occasion, this isn't going to last. The skin's going to absorb the product and it's going to start to look a little bit, not wishy-washy, but it's just not going to be enough. So first step, tinted serum. Second step is pick your foundations. So I've gone for like a light medium foundation for the two, but I'm going to be brightening up the center and then going in with a slightly darker one around the edges and around the mouth. If I use, even though I've got the corrector underneath, a lighter foundation on this area, it's going to look unnatural. So we use two. We're going to use the light reflective foundation from Nars. I use the color Cadiz through the center, and we're going to use the Makeup Forever HD foundation, and this shade is 4N62. So always when you're doing this technique, start off with the lighter color. So one pump, okay, maybe 1.5 of this one first. And we're going to be using the same brush as the base. So take your foundation into your brush, load it up, and this will give you more of a professional finish. And just start off on the high parts of the cheek, center of the forehead, and we're lightly building up a perfect base. So go through and just press and stipple this into the skin, down the center of the nose. And this is your first step for the kind of brightening and balanced look. Now we even out the rest. So give your foundation a little bit of a shake. Again, oops, okay, maybe not like that. One pump. And now, same brush, because I do wash my brushes after every application. Go into your darker foundation. And if you've done what I've done and you've just got a little bit too much on, your hand is your palette. Take off any excess. So it's almost like I'm bronzing the skin with this shade. But I need to make sure that this because even my pigmentation goes up through here a little bit. I want it to all be uniform. No one needs to know I have pigmentation, quite frankly. That's the aim, that's the goal. So this is given a lovely luminosity, a lovely kind of airbrush finish. Always go down the jawline with whatever you've got left on your brush. And you know, if there is a big difference between here, not even a big difference, if there's any type of difference between your face and your ear, go over the ear. I'm happy with that. Next step would be concealer. So when you're concealing, start off with, well, this is my technique, this is what I like to do. I like to start off with something a bit lighter. So this is the actual e.l.f. concealer. This is Camouflage, and this is called Deep Caramel. So remove any excess from your applicator, and just don't go too close to underneath the lashes. Just take it a bit further down, and then hit the high part of the cheekbone. So let's do this side as well. So now we have our concealer brush. This is a Makeup Forever one. It's called the 100 straight brush. I love it because it's a pointed, dense brush, and it takes the effort out of blending. So just press this, and as you can see, this is lighten up underneath the eye and lifting my cheekbone. And then I just, whatever's left, blend it up towards the lash line. So really blend out on top of the cheekbones. And this is a lovely creamy texture. I mean, for £6 you really are winning with this product. And you can take it around the face if you need to, but I'm not going to, because the areas that I do want to conceal, so you can see a little bit of shadowing through here, which is where I had a spot which has marked me. I'm going to show you something that's going to remove that, and it won't move all day. It's just going to camouflage it and it's gone. So first set of concealers done. For me, it's not really enough. I can still see this indentation here, and in order to get rid of that one, we need to go excuse me, for a truer color. So Westman Atelier, love this one, T4, and where you have that indentation, that's where you leave it on. Leave it on for about 30 seconds. We're going to move on to something else while that's just lightly sitting and setting in the skin, and then we're going to tap and press that in with the same brush. Now, I was telling you about my mark. Bobbi Brown concealer. This one is an Almond. So any kind of pan cream concealer stick is very, very good for covering any kind of marks around the face. You can even see two here. So this one here, you just want to draw, and then, because it's quite a large applicator, just kind of wiggle it onto where you want it to be concealed. Take your concealer brush, lightly tap it around the area to blend. But because this one is really prominent on my hairline, I don't want to tap it away. But a brush like this is really good, but I can still see it coming through. So what I do, I go back with my concealer. I just go directly onto the dark area, and then I take my mineral powder, dark, and take your powder brush, powder bronzer brush, whichever one you have, and just press on the area, and it's gone. And it looks natural. I'm not going to do that through here because this is a lighter area. I don't want to go in with something that's too dark. But if you want to, you can just kind of, because it's a mineral powder, it doesn't give you that matte flat look. It gives you that kind of, that keeps that luminosity within the skin, but it makes sure that that doesn't move. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing throughout the day, that is staying put and you cannot see anything through. Right, let's finish this. Concealer brush. And just press. And what I've got left on my brush, take it and lift. Yeah, you can see the difference. It just removes that hollowness and it just lifts and brightens. So again, so the reason I use this second concealer, it is truer to my skin color. So it's not so bright. When it gets too bright, it can look a little bit unnatural. It can look like you've got a lot of concealer and product on. You get something closer to your skin tone and something with a little bit more texture, a bit more coverage, a little bit more dryness, you get that perfect conceal and lift. And the other reason I use this Westman Atelier concealer is because it's self-setting. So I don't like to use a powder underneath my eye. For me, it dries it out. I don't like to see that line. I have a couple of lines underneath there. I don't want to emphasize them. So I just need to make sure that it's well blended. So carry on, just pressing your brush through. Even as the last step, what we're going to do when we finished everything, we're going to take that concealer brush before we leave and we're just going to press. So when you talk, when you move, you know, the face moves, and concealer, if it's not set into place, it was going to slightly move. It's going to come to the surface if it's stuck in a line. So after I've done everything, I might see a little bit of concealer through a line. We're going to press that out. We're going to remove the excess and you're good to go. So now we are going to work on, I'm happy with my base. I'm going to work on a cream bronze. And again, this one is e.l.f. I think it's such a beautiful product, price-wise as well, £6. Laughing. Use this one. Use a little bit of highlight, a little bit of cheek colour. We can lightly set with a powder. I'm going to be using the Huda, and then we're done. So, e.l.f. It's a very highly pigmented product. A little bit goes a very long way. So just take 3 dots, either side. You can dot through the forehead. Because I've got that darker powder on there, that's giving me my bronze look. That's enough. Go and get yourself a get yourself a bronzing concealer brush. Let's use, in fact, I'm going to use my foundation brush. This is gonna work perfectly, and it's fine because I'm going to wash my brush after. You see? Such an easy way to apply a cream bronzer contour shade. I'm just pressing this brush through. It's giving me sculpt, it's giving me warmth. You can build up if you want to, but in order to keep everything natural, this is enough. The next thing we're going to do is a blush. So for my blush, I have got the Rare Beauty, and it's this lovely bright red shade, but it's very, very highly pigmented and you have to blend it out very quickly. And if you're not very comfortable with using a highly pigmented cream blusher or bronzer, you can always shear them out. Now I like to just take, your hand is your palette, so just take a little bit of this product onto the back of your hand. And I have this Glow Recipe Water Glow Niacinamide Hue Drops. So it's like a lightweight primer bronzer, gives you a lot of glow. I'm going to show you. But it's very, very sheer. Yeah? So with this product here, you can take a little bit of the blush, go into your little cream bronze, and that's, I'm happy with that. And you can see it's got a lot of slip, it's quite see-through, so you can be safe taking that and blending it out onto the cheek. So it's always easier to build up than to remove. So this one, it's very sheer. Go back in. And even though you want to, you know, you might be tempted to start your blusher here, I would always advise just to keep everything high. And again, use a brush to lightly blend this out. So a clean brush. So if you've got a clean blusher brush or foundation brush, you just want a clean brush just to blend and remove any excess, even a beauty blender if you wanted to. But look at that. So you've got that lovely colour, you've got lovely luminosity, you've got your highlighter in there as well. And it just gives you the shade that you want without all that excess blending and being nervous that you've put too much on or not enough, or you get my gist. It's on and we blend. So I'm blending out the edges with this. You can sweep or you can press, but I'm also going over the product. Go back in with your brush and tap that through. So now I'm happy. We've got our foundation, we've got our concealer, we've got cream bronzer, we have cream blusher, we have highlighter. Now I'm just going to lightly set where I want it to be set. And for me, this is always going to be center, T-zone, texture, any excess oil build up throughout the day. That is where I'm going to be powdering. And I'm going to go in with Huda Beauty, this bright purple. I think it's called Birthday Cake. And not only does this smell amazing, which isn't really important for product like foundation or powders on your skin, but it is a nice treat to have something smell this gorgeous. But it also, because of the shade of it, if you've got any excess yellow, I mean, I know I'm throwing yellow here, but if you've gone a little bit warm or yellow on your foundation and you want to tone it down a little bit, this is an excellent product. Also, it just, especially when you use it with a brush, gives you just a light set. So we're taking powder on the brush, tap off any excess, you can give it a little shake and just lightly place where you want to set. Okay, so down the nose. These smile lines are must. This is where we have texture. This is where the excess oil can come throughout the day. Now, if you want to, take it underneath the eyes if you don't have that problem that I do. If not, just go. And it just blurs and smooths the entire area. Even around my mouth, I like to, you don't need any shine there. Or glow, I should say. Stop saying shine, glow. I mean, look. And I would always take, just so that you don't see too much of a divide between the glow and the powder and the mateness of the powder. Make sure your hands are clean. But I also like to get my hand and just go over with my fingers and just make sure everything is seamless. Remember what I said, we're going to go in with a brush and we're just going to press. Last step when you're doing your application is to press. So we've got our glow, we've got our colour, we've got our base, and I'm really happy with that. And this will last the entire day, even without a setting spray. But if you feel that your makeup does move and you really just, it might be a red carpet, it might be a wedding, christening, whatever you need to go to. Know the difference between a setting spray and, I mean, this one does say setting spray, but this is more of a hydrating spray. This is going to hydrate and keep everything in place, but a little bit more luminous. This is going to set your makeup. Nothing will move when you have this product on. It is waterproof, yeah? So if you wanted to use them two together, if you find that this one is too mattifying, you spray this one first. So give it a shake. Spray. And I mean, you can put a lot more if you want to. That's going to stay put, but you can also go over with this. So you do have that glow, that luminosity to the skin, knowing you've got that base underneath. This is waterproof, remember. You've got this. Everything stays put.